So here is our project. Now notice, once again, management's the same, but I now have a more complex roadmap. And you can set up, I think by default, there's, I think, 5 different authorities that need to approve going from the define to the measure phase. It's usually the project owner, the champion, the financial person, a manager, and I know there's one other, but that can be all configured. And then these middle ones, by default, the owner and the champion can move those to the next milestone. But then this control would be everybody that is listed in the project would need to concur. And this is where we go from the content of the project to submitting it for approval to move to the next milestone. So all of that is very controlled, very strong governance. So there's never that, question of, well, why the heck did this thing go from define to measure when certain things are not done? So you can track back, hey, these are the authorities that really are supposed to check that before it goes forward. Maybe we need to, do some training and get that tuned up if those things are happening. But it's not a mystery. You have that governance that's very strong to be able to see how this workflow is progressing. So we're going to start out with a SIPOC, kind of identifying some of these inputs and outputs to our process. We also have instructions. That led its way to a process map. Now, you said, we just looked at a process map for my delivery, on-time delivery. This one's a little bit different. I'm going to blow it up just a little bit so it's a little easier to see for you. All right. Notice that, there we go. We now have some different stuff in here. We've got X's and we've got Y's. And the reason that is I have this task pane. I have the ability to add inputs and outputs to this process diagram. When you do that, all of these go into a XY table that you don't see. So when I click on one of these elements, you can see that alloy, composition, pouring temperature, and mold design are my inputs, and my raw wheel is my output. So these are linked to the shapes that I'm dealing with here. You're like, well, what does that matter? Well, anything else you do, I'm going to jump forward a little bit to the cause and effects matrix. And you can see I've got a lot of information in my cause and effects matrix. But what I want to show you is, let's say I want to add a cause, add some information to this. I have the ability to add new inputs, but more importantly, I can actually pull those inputs from the table that I've created. And what's cool about that is now everything is kind of integrated together. So I'm not going to name temperature, maybe 2 different things, or some other kind of input, 2 different things. They all go back to that. Wherever you started it would be, and normally the process diagram, it all goes back to that single source. So now we have everything tied together really nicely. The other cool thing about this is that we now can put snapshots of our analysis in here. So here's our gauge R&R information. We can kind of see where we're at with our capability here. Now, all of this, I didn't go through and populate these values. I guess I started here. Yes. Low, target, up. So this is even though there's analysis behind this, maybe I don't want to have that analysis file in here because I don't want people to dig into it. This is just something to report maybe to upper level management. And I just want the snapshot of the analysis with information. So that's where these analysis capture forms come in. And you can see I also have a control chart for that information. I can see where I'm at. Now I've created my PFMEA. We have some recommended actions that have been completed. So we've made some improvements. And now we can take a look at our end capability. Oh, I think it was the control chart that I wanted to do. There we go. Oh, it didn't save it. Shoot. But basically what we've done with this is we've made a pretty significant improvement in capability. I think I was in here and I was in the read only, so it didn't save. So I apologize for that. But you can see that comparison in there. So anybody that's going through here, maybe we're getting into that control phase, we're getting into that end phase. All of our information tells a complete story. And the other cool thing is if this is something that is a good project for the whole organization, maybe this is something that you could just copy. We could copy the entire project over as a new one, and now the folks that are involved in the content can change the content, but they don't have to, redesign the whole thing. They can actually use the information that was developed from the earlier team and just put their information in there. And that to me is where that continuous improvement snowball rolls downhill and now starts to become a giant force to be reckoned with. The other cool thing, lastly, if I go into my news section, all of these, you have a data architect role in here, and I'll show you that in a minute, but let's say I can't find that tool that I'm really wanting to use, okay? Maybe I have a tool that is just something that we've come up with and it's brand new. I can actually start with a blank form. So I can create my text boxes, my drop downs, and I can have a custom form for my organization that maybe isn't in our list of tools. So it's very, very flexible in that we can do a tools only project. So if I just wanted a value stream map, I can put that out there. I can go and do things like Kaizens. So if I look at I can capture my Kaizen events. I can do the just do it's all the way up to a full DMAIC project. And that way, all levels of continuous improvement, you can have in one spot with standardized tools. So that way, you don't have to be a soothsayer to read these different forms and different project formats. They're all unified. Now we can go into what we do best, and that is executing projects, saving time and money.